guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Imagine being so threatened by someone's opinion or basically their side of things and them going out in public to universities to spread their thoughts, what they have learned, and to debate with others that may not agree or have varying opinions, and then getting assassinated for it. It's exactly what happened with Charlie Kirk. And we learned this morning from the FBI that a 22-year-old college student not attending the university that this was being held at is responsible for this horrific act that took away the father of two young children, 3 and 1 years old, and took away a husband to his wife and a son to his father and his mother, and a friend to many, as well as a major activist and force for the Christian and conservative thoughts inside of things. But we used to be a country where you could debate, you could talk about things, not always agree, and not have your life threatened or taken for it. And this is what Charlie was trying to do. He just wanted to go out and provoke a conversation, a debate. And there are people that hate him for this. And Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old that shot him, is exactly one of those people. He hated him so intensely that he killed him. I'm going to go through a bit of the press conference from this morning, as well as go through what I've been able to find that they have discovered about the shooter. And this is just a horrible, horrible thing. There's no excuse for murder ever, and especially simply because you don't agree with his ways of thinking. That's really the bottom line. Tyler did not agree with, and Charlie Kirk angered him so immensely that he planned and set out and accomplished what he wanted to do, which was murder an innocent 31-year-old husband and father.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! ! Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah. But I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history.
A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams, We also utilize these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
This is the shooter, alleged shooter. He is the shooter, but innocent until proven guilty. That's how our country works, right? Tyler Robinson. Now I'm going to go through some of the stuff I've been able to find out about him. Obviously, the governor and the FBI, they all mentioned some information. And folks, media, everyone's been trying to find out just who the heck is this 22-year-old who decided he was going to be judge, juror, and executioner. Tyler Robinson is a 22-year-old student at Dixie Technical College. It's in St. George, Utah. He was a third-year student in the electrical apprenticeship program. Tyler had been admitted to Utah State University originally, about 200 miles from the UVU, where Kirk was murdered. He was on a $32,000 presidential scholarship as a pre-engineering major. However, he was only a student at USU for one semester in 2021, and then he took a leave of absence, according to a representative. A leave of absence for a college student in his first year. One semester. So he moved on to the technical college after that, obviously. He grew up in Washington County, Utah, as the oldest of 3 boys in a family of 5. His parents are Matt and Amber, and they have been married for about 25 years. Now, you look at this family, they look like the typical American family, you know? Everything looks pretty, pretty okay, but obviously it's not. Now, his mom, Amber Robinson, she works for Intermountain Support Coordination Services. It's a company contracted by the state of Utah to help disabled people receive care. And Father Matt, he was a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Yeah, he was a sheriff's deputy for 27 years. And he was the main force in getting his son arrested. The Robinson family lives in a suburb of the city of St. George, which is in the southern area of Utah, southern Utah. It's about a 3.5-hour drive south of the Utah Valley University campus, which was where this all happened. So yeah, that means Tyler drove about 3.5 hours that morning to assassinate Charlie Kirk. Social media posts, such as Facebook, they reflected a happy family life with trips to Disneyland, Alaska, and St. Kitts. His mom bragged about her son being a genius and smarty pants, getting accepted into college. Again, typical family, mom's bragging about her oldest son being so smart and getting scholarships and getting into a great college. Neighbors stated that the Robinson family attended the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is a Mormon church. Tyler has no previous criminal history, so nothing seems to stand out to say that he would have done anything like this. Now, there are photos and history of the family with guns and that sort of stuff, but that doesn't seem too unusual for Utah. It seems like folks carry and shoot around there, hunting and that sort of thing. So it doesn't really seem too out of the ordinary. Public records show Tyler had in the past registered as a nonpartisan voter in the state of Utah, and his parents were registered as Republicans. So they're stating that he, out of his family, he was the only one that was not a conservative Republican. Now, that doesn't necessarily matter, but as we all know, Charlie Kirk, he was a very conservative Republican. Tyler was turned in by his dad, who is now a retired veteran law enforcement officer, which I previously stated. Dad ended up confronting him after seeing photos of the killer, and he recognized that this looked like his eldest son. How awkward is that? You see this photo of this shooter, and you're like, that looks like my kid. But Dad and the family, they did the right thing. He told his father, when he was confronted, that he would rather take his own life than hand himself in. So Dad called in a local youth pastor from their church to assist them, and the pastor called the U.S. Marshals, who eventually took Tyler Robinson into custody. So this was definitely a group effort to some extent. It was Dad, a youth pastor, and also another family friend. So this was definitely a lot of coming together to get Tyler in custody. Robinson had become increasingly political in the recent years and ranted just before killing Kirk that he believed that Kirk was, quote, full of hate. Yeah. A Christian conservative that is full of hate. That's what he believed about Charlie Kirk. In Discord chats with his roommate, they also show him discussing a rifle hidden in a tower where it was located later after the assassination. And law enforcement believes, as we just heard in the press conference, that Tyler Robinson is the shooter based on factors that include surveillance footage, purportedly showing him arriving on campus in his Dodge Challenger. It's a gray Dodge Challenger, and later wearing clothing matching that of the individual initially suspected. So all that stuff just added up, and once Dad and the assistant pastor called, yeah, it just all came together. And he allegedly told them that he did it. That's what we're hearing as well. The Discord chats with his roommate. Again, they show that rifle being hidden in a towel where it was soon found. Now, also, messages also discussed through Discord about having to change outfits, as well as engraving bullets, and a mention of a scope and the rifle. And the bullets had hateful scrawls on them, as they just stated in the press conference, including, "If you read this, you are gay," LMAO, and "Hey, fascist, catch," which were aimed obviously at Charlie Kirk. Now, I did read also that Discord is denying that any of these messages were actually put on their platform, which doesn't surprise me. They don't want to be associated with it, but they also deleted his user, which is apparently his username, which was just called, quote, Tyler. Yeah. Again, this is a horrible, tragic situation which should have never happened. I don't know what, if anything, could have prevented it. I don't know. He mentioned to his family that he did not like Charlie Kirk, as we've found out through the FBI. But and then did he say that stuff to his roommate through Discord enough time in advance for this roommate to actually do something about it? That I don't know. If that is the case, he should have come forward. But I don't know the answers to that. And the fact that his family acted so quickly once they realized that this was Tyler, the family obviously never thought he was a physical threat to anyone except for, his verbal words and his lines of thinking. So I don't believe at all that his family knew anything besides the fact that he did not like Charlie Kirk and he did not go by anything that he said. But who would think that someone in your family, your child, your brother, who would think that they would actually go out and murder somebody? Most of us couldn't fathom that. And from what I'm reading, his like I said, all his friends through high school and such, they said he had some changes of thinking as far as politics and that sort of stuff. But he seemed like he was just a usual guy, and he went to church. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. So while there is sort of a motive that he just did not like Charlie Kirk, they are seeming to look into what really further prompted all this. But we may not know. It just may have been he didn't like him, he hated what he had to say, and he made the decision to go out and, like I said, become his judge, jury, and executioner, which no one has the right to be. But yeah, so hopefully we'll learn a little more about it. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the extent that what we find out, about the shooter. At this point, we need to focus on just getting justice for Charlie and continuing to pray for his family. Again, he has a widow now, his wife Erica, and his two little babies, 3 and 1 years old, a daughter and a son, and countless other members of his family and friends that are devastated by this. 31 years old, young, and killed for what? Just because he went out, he spoke his opinion and asked people to debate him. None of it was full of hate. It was all about a healthy debate. It's awful. It truly, truly is. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.